Okay. So this is going to be a 45 to 50-minute class. And we're going to be using blocks and a blanket. And the blanket's not necessary unless you really want the cushioning for your knees, because we're going to be on our knees. We're going to be doing a few things on our knees that, maybe a little bit testy for your knees. So go ahead and grab your stuff and have your block nearby where you can reach it. You're going to go ahead and lay down on your back. Sorry to jump right in. We're going to slow down now once we get on our backs. So get yourself comfortable. And then take your block, lift your back like you're coming into bridge pose, and slide that block underneath your very low back. The back of your pelvis, part of your spine that is fused, that diamond shape, the very end of your spine. And just let yourself rest here on your block. And that's it. That's it for the moment. So let your arms relax. Your legs are in a comfortable position, preferably with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. So just let your body settle and accept the support. And notice the rhythm of your breath. See if you can relax your face. As if this was the most important thing you're going to do all day today. Just laying right here and breathing. I will say, if this is uncomfortable for you, you can always move the block. Anything we do in a yoga class, if it doesn't feel right to you, you give yourself permission to not do it or to modify. Let's take a couple more mindful breaths here. And then we're going to play with some micro movements today. So your knees are bent, your feet are on the floor. And if you remember windshield wipers, but we're going to just move so small, so slowly that you can barely see yourself moving. If someone was watching you, they wouldn't even know you were moving. So just very, very slowly and mindfully, let your knees move in the smallest windshield wipers you can. And then we'll start to make those movements just a little bit bigger. We're not going to do the full windshield wipers here, just a little bit bigger. You'll know when you reach the edge, your body will start to resist, and it won't be as comfortable. So just little small windshield wipers, and now you can see these movements. And let's do that one more time to each side. And make your way back to neutral. And then bring your right knee up towards your chest, and you're just holding on lightly. So we're not pulling the knee in, just hold on lightly, and you can reach around behind your thigh if that's more comfortable. And now we're going to make micro movements here. So just very slowly and mindfully move your right leg a little bit to the right and a little bit to the center. This takes a little bit of control, a little bit of focus to keep these movements small. Slowly right to left. And then come back to center. And again, micro movements, small little circles with your right knee. And come back to center. And now take your time with this next movement. Straighten your leg up and come to a slight angle out into the air. You might just stay right there. If you would like, slowly start to lower your leg down. It does not need to go to the floor. You will start to feel some tension in your back. And when you start to feel that tension, stay right there. Don't go any farther. And then bend your right knee, bring your foot back to the floor, and reset. If you need to move your block, kind of feeling like it's not where you want it, go ahead and adjust yourself. And then we're going to do the same thing on the left side. So slowly bring your left knee up, holding on lightly. And just pause here. You may wonder, why are we doing this? Well, we're giving our bodies the message that we're creating safety. We're paying attention, noticing all the small little sensations. And then when you're ready, small movements to the left and to the center. Very small movements. And you're also giving your low back a little massage here and paying attention. So we're not making these big movements. We're not trying to fix anything. And then come back to center and make some small circles with your left knee. All right. And then straighten your left leg up into the air, and you might just stay right there. Maybe that feels like a good stretch, just staying right there. And if you like, your arms are passive. Slowly start to lower your left leg down. You don't have to flex your foot. This is slow and easy. When you start to feel resistance in your leg or your back, stay right there. And then bend your left knee, bring your left foot to the floor. And now we're going to move the block off to the side. And once you lower your back to the floor, just notice how flat your low back feels, how connected you are. And then we're going to move into our familiar yoga poses, bringing both knees up to our chest and finding a comfortable place to hold on, and then rocking side to side. So we're integrating all that micro movement we just did. Slowly come back to center. Hold on behind your thighs and lift your legs up into the air. Flex your feet if you like. And then bring your feet back to the floor. Nice comfortable position. And now we're going to shift the focus to our upper bodies. So bring your arms up into the air and then down overhead, backs of your hands on the floor. And you may notice your middle back wants to arch. So lift and lower your low back, right where you have that block, and create a nice little arch here. So you can accommodate this movement. And then just find your breath. And now from here, we're going to come into an extended bridge pose. So walk your heels up towards your bottom. Stretch your arms out a little bit if you can. And then press into your feet and peel your spine off the floor. And now we're going to move into flowing bridge. We're just going to use this arm position here and the next one. So inhale as you lift your arms up and exhale as you bring your arms down by your side. We're not going out to the sides today. So inhale, lift your arms and your back up. Exhale, arms down overhead. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down by your side. So no T position. Now just flow with your own breath. Inhaling up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, everything comes down. Do this 3 more times on your own. Next time your arms come down by your sides, go ahead and rest. I'm going to make a small adjustment here. Just let yourself rest. All right. And now we're going to do our typical windshield wipers. So go ahead and loosen up the connection between your heels and your bottom. Arms can come out in a T position and just freely move your legs side to side, big, small, or in between. All right. And then we're going to come up to sitting next. So take your time, rolling over onto your side, helping yourself up, and finding your cross-legged easy pose. Okay. So you don't have to use your block for one of the poses we're going to do here, but it's here if you want to use it. We're going to start with spinal rotation, so we don't need the block for that. And you can make these big or small. And I recommend inhaling as you come up and exhaling as you come down. This really keeps your body and your breath in sync with each other. Inhaling up and exhaling down. One more time in this direction. And then when you come up to neutral, reverse. One more time. Find yourself in neutral. Pause. Relax your hands, your arms, your shoulders, your back, your belly. Just feel your connection here. Physical connection to the floor. And your mental and emotional connection to yourself through your breath. All right. So now we're going to move into a bigger twist. Probably the first big twist we're actually doing today. So it's going to be a combination of side stretch and spinal twist. Take your right hand to the outside of your left knee. There's your twist. And then lift your left arm straight up. And you might just stay there. That might be enough. If you like, lean gently to the right. So it's not a big side stretch. It's not a big twist. Notice where your body is resisting. Where it's tight. Just doesn't really, it's not quite here yet. Just notice that. Try to soften around those tight spots. Let your exhales help you to release. One more breath. Inhale as you release your left arm down, and exhale as you come back to center. Roll your shoulders a couple times, and then we'll repeat on the other side. So now it's your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Once you've got that settled, raise your right arm up and lean to the left. Breathe into it. One more breath. And then inhale, release your right arm down. Exhale, come back to center and roll your shoulders again. Okay. So now we're going to do a forward fold with our legs crossed. So if you know this doesn't work for you, if this bothers your knees, you can straighten your legs out like this. You can bring your legs together like this. We're just going to do it twice. We're going to do 2 forward folds. Okay? And it's the same either way, wherever your legs are, it's the same idea is to hinge at the hips and just bring yourself down to a place where you feel a nice stretch, but no pain, no discomfort. Your hands can be on your thighs, the floor, or your block. One more breath. And then wherever your hands are resting, press down. And then lift yourself up. Your legs are crossed. You're going to put the other leg in front. Your legs are straight. You're not doing anything different with your legs. Find your sitting bones and hinge at the hips. One more time. Come down towards your thighs and let your hands rest wherever they're comfortable. Couple more breaths. Again, wherever your hands are resting, press down So lift yourself up. Your legs are crossed. Go ahead and straighten your legs out and give your legs a little rub. Either way, rub your legs. Some blood flowing into your legs. And then we're going to come onto our hands and knees next. So this is where you might want to have your blanket nearby. So we're starting on hands and knees. I'll go ahead and put this blanket down. And then we're going to start with wagging your tail. So just move your hips side to side, slow and easy. It's a good way to start any of the pose sequences when you're on hands and knees. Just loosening up your hips, loosening up your knees, your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists. And then come on back to neutral. And now we're going to move through cats and cows. So start by tucking your tailbone and rounding your back into cat pose. And just pause right there. And on your next inhale, start to lift your tailbone up. And as you do, your belly will drop down and you'll find that you're exhaling as you come into cow pose. Arching your back. Remember to keep your neck in neutral. No pressure on your neck. And now 5 times, we're going to move in and out of cat-cow with our breath. Inhaling to neutral, exhaling to cat, tuck your tailbone. Inhale neutral, exhale cow, drop your belly down. Inhale neutral, exhale cat. Inhale neutral, exhale cow. Now do the next 3 on your own following your breath. After your next cow pose, bring yourself back to neutral and then press back into child's pose or hero pose. All right, one more breath. And then we'll come back up onto hands and knees. Now, if you've got your blanket here, it should not get in your way. We're gonna be moving through down dog and cobra. So we will be coming onto our bellies. So you have your blanket there, it's okay. So go ahead and find your downward facing dog next. And feel the backs of your legs. Maybe this is the first time you're feeling this stretch today. So start to lift and lower your heels, stretching out your calves, backs of your knees, maybe even up into your hamstrings. And then pause in down dog. And then we're going to shift into plank pose. Hold plank pose for 3 breaths, only 3. And then drop your knees down. Keep your elbows in as you slowly lower down, all the way down. And then inhale, lift just your head and chest. So now there's no pressure on your hands. Your back is doing the work. One more breath. And now we have a choice. We can go back to child's pose, or we can come up to downward facing dog again. We're going to come back through plank pose, and we'll hold it this time. So if you're in child's pose, you're going to come down onto your belly. We're all coming down onto our bellies, and then back up into cobra, lifting your head and chest, no pressure on your hands. So you can feel your back muscles working here. You feel that sensation of all your back muscles squeezing together, working together. And we're going to do that one more time. So you can choose child's pose or downward facing dog. All right, one more time. Let's come to our bellies. And back up into cobra. And this time we'll all go to child's pose. So let's rest in child's pose. You can leave your arms out for extended child's pose. Cross your arms. Or bring your arms down by your legs. Let's take another breath or two. And then when you're ready, come on back up. We're going to stand on our knees. We're going to use our blocks for this. So this is where you'll want to have your knees on your blanket if that works for you, if that's something you like. And have your block on your right side. Okay? So sometimes you don't need the block, but it's always nice to have it. So put your right hand on the block and step your left foot forward, and then adjust your right knee any way you need to so it's comfortable. We're going to stay right here. We're not moving from here. We're going to stay right here for the moment. So you can lift that right knee up if you like. But feel your hips. We haven't really gotten into our hips yet. So just feel how your hips are noticing themselves. They're becoming aware of themselves. And that right foot, your toes can be curled or flat. Your foot can be flat, either way. So our next movement, we don't do this very often. So take your time and just start to move back towards your right leg. So you're straightening your left leg. And of course, it's never all the way straight. There's always a nice little curve here. Feel the stretch in the back of your left leg. And again, we're going to do something we never do. I always say don't do this, but we're only going to do it for a few breaths. So come on back to that lunge and let your knee go just past your ankle. And you're going to feel this stretch a little deeper in your left hip and in your right inner thigh. One more breath. And now we're going to release this pose. So bring your left knee back to meet your right knee. And take a rest, either in child's pose or hero pose. Notice any different sensations that you have in your right and left hips, right and left legs. And then we're going to repeat that same sequence on the other side. So if you're using a block, go ahead and move it over to the left side. Stand back up on your knees. And then we're going to bring the right foot forward. There's only 3 poses. So we're just setting up our first low lunge. Your right knee is directly over your ankle. This is safe. This is strong. You've got your joints stacked here. So take a few breaths. Feel your hips again. We need to stretch this area every day if we can. If we sit, we just can't help ourselves. That's what we do. That's just how we live. And so anytime you get a chance to do some nice deep hip stretches, please do that. But make sure you warm up first. Don't just start with this. And now when you're ready, press back toward your left leg, straightening your right leg. Foot stays flat. Your right foot stays flat on the floor. And now there's another sequence where we would come bring those toes up, but we're not doing that today. And then shift back where you started and press that right knee just beyond your ankle. Feel the space between your 2 hips. One more breath. And now release. Bring your right knee back. And again, we have a choice, child's pose or downward facing dog. And in either pose, if you like, you can try making those micro movements again, moving your hips side to side, just making those small little movements. You can do this in down dog or child's pose. And then from this pose, whichever pose you're in, we're going to make our way up to a standing position. So take your time coming up. You can move your blanket out of the way. And let me adjust my screen. Sorry. So many wires. All right. And then once you're up in a standing position, take a wide stance and just start to move your hips side to side. Just like when we wag our tail when we're on our hands and knees. Imagine that's what you're doing now, wagging your tail. Moving your hips, loosening up. And then let's do a few hip circles. Let's do 3 in each direction. And then reverse when you're ready. And then we'll come back to neutral. And let's just pause here. Arms come down by your sides. Relax your shoulders. Now, before we start, we're going to do a warrior one flow today with just 3 poses in it. But before we start that, let's do a little straddle fold here. So we're already in a straddle. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, arms out to the sides, and you can stop in airplane pose if you like, bending your knees slightly. Or you can go all the way down, fingertips to the floor, your shins, your block, your thighs, but make sure to let your upper body totally relax. Let's take a couple more breaths. And then when we come up, we're going to bend our knees, bring our hands to our thighs, use our legs and our arms to lift ourselves up. Okay, shake your arms and legs, and then we're going to get ready for warrior one. Okay, so warrior one, it's all familiar. We're just holding the poses a little longer today. So start in mountain pose and step your right foot back and build your foundation for warrior one. I always like to start with my hands on my hips. It just, for me, feels like I'm reminding myself to be grounded, to not just be wobbling all over the place. So ground yourself, press your legs down just enough to notice that you are in warrior one. And then choose your arm position. Arms out to the sides, maybe goalpost arms, or out in front of you. And if you feel like you've got a nice little arch in your back, just stay right there. If you want to try a little extra arch in your back, see what happens if you bring the backs of your hands to your low back and lean back slightly. One more breath. Release your arms down by your sides, bring your back into neutral, and then back out into warrior one, out in front of you. And then we're going to do a humble warrior, but we're only coming down to 30%. So hold your belly in, hinge at the hips, and come down to about a 30-degree angle. So the work here is holding your belly in. And now bring your palms together down to your heart and engage your core muscles again if you have let them go, because I know I did. Hold your belly in as you lift back up into warrior one with your hands at your heart. And then from here, we're going to step back to mountain pose. Just take a couple breaths. Noticing the difference in the two sides of your body again. And then we're going to do the same 3 poses on the other side. So step your left foot back and build your foundation for warrior one. Maybe today you feel like having your hands on your hips the whole time. That is okay. So you decide where you'd like your arms for warrior one. And now for our little back bend, you can leave your arms where they are and simply lean back slightly. So your arms can be up in the air. You can have goalpost arms out to the sides or resting on your low back. So you have lots of options for your arms. One more breath. And then release your arms down by your sides, release your spine. And now bring your arms out in front of you, belly pulled in, hinge at the hips and come down to a 30-degree angle. One more breath. And again, bring palms together down to your heart and use your core muscles to lift yourself up. Pausing here, back in warrior one. And then step into mountain pose. Give your arms and legs a little shake. We're going to do one more standing pose and then we're coming back down onto the mat. So our last standing pose is a forward fold. So if you like using your block for that, go ahead and have your block in front of you. Okay, inhale up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, take your time, come down slowly as if you're moving through water. Take your time coming down, and then once you get down there, see if you can relax your whole upper body, as if your upper body was made out of jello. Just let it all go. Let's take a couple more breaths. And now from forward fold, we're going to come right down onto our mats. So take your time, finding your way onto your back. And you might want your block nearby. We may do supported bridge pose again. That's going to be up to you if you want to do supported bridge pose again. So make sure you have your block nearby. Let yourself settle here on your mat. And you might just decide, this is it. I'm done. I'm ready to rest. And that is absolutely great. It's good to notice when your body is finished with something, when you're ready to just let it all go and honor that. But if you would like to do any other poses, I'm going to suggest 4 or 5. And so maybe pick 1 or 2 or just rest. So knees to chest is a natural option here. And you can move side to side with knees to chest. You can do one at a time. Figure 4 pose is another option. Just make sure to do both sides. And then a spinal twist always feels good after a yoga practice. So for me, the safest spinal twist, I'm actually going to do this, so I'm going to talk us through it. Take your right leg flat down on the floor, roll to your right hip, bring your left knee, left leg with you, trying to keep your shoulder blades on the mat. Your left leg doesn't need to touch the floor. Stay here as long as you like. And then maybe help yourself back onto your back and repeat on the other side. Left leg comes out flat. Roll to the left side with your right leg. Take your right leg over there. And I'm not holding this very long. You can hold it longer if you like. And eventually, when you feel satisfied, when you've done all your cool downs and your body is just ready, just come to a comfortable position and relax. You don't want to forget about this. You want to actually take advantage of the last couple minutes of your yoga practice to just breathe. Just let go. Be with yourself. You're the only self you have. When you feel ready to bring yourself back, just come back slowly, starting with your fingers, your toes, remembering that all your nerves end in your fingers, your hands, and your feet, and your brain. So when we come out of our relaxation in yoga, that's why we start moving fingers and toes first, because it sends that energy through your body, through your arms, into your chest and your legs and your hips and your belly. And you can start to move your bigger body parts and then gradually roll over onto your side and help yourself up to a sitting position.